Breaking news this hour on ENCA. Fees Must Fall activist Kanya Cekeshe has been released on parole in the early hours of this morning. It's set to be a festive holiday season in the Cekeshe home, with the Fees Must Fall activist back with his family. We're going to get an update now from Justice Ministry Spokesperson Chrispin Phiri. Crispin, we understand that release was in the early hours of this morning, and Kanya Cekeshe is now home with his family. What more can you tell us about events at Leeuwkop Correctional Services facility?
Safe to say that after completing the programs required and also following the security procedures that have been set out in the remission process, Mr. Cekeshe has been released on parole. He was a beneficiary from the remission process. You'll recall that the minister did make the announcement that he would be one of the beneficiaries and would benefit immediately by being placed on parole. So all of that has been completed now, the administrative processes, and Mr. Cekeshe is home with his family.
We do know that the Fees Must Fall activist and leader was struggling in correctional services facilities. Is the department doing anything to review how inmates are treated and what programs are available to them?
Yes, we certainly do put measures in place. We have to treat prisoners in terms of what we call the minimum standards, UN minimum standards, which are actually named after former President Nelson Mandela. So inmates are treated in the most humane way possible. We do think that Mr. Cekeshe's situation may have been slightly different in that what he may have been ailed from may not have been as a result of the treatment in our correctional facility, but other factors as well. And of course, one of the things that we will be looking into for future purposes is to have facilities to be able to assist people who suffer from external ailments if they come into our facilities, and that's something that we're definitely looking into.
Kanya Cekeshe's case has been widely reported upon, and his own advocate Tembeka Ngukai-Tobi said in October, and this was in court, he said, "Today we have somebody who is in prison who should never have been in prison. It lies on the worship, the judge in that case, that he does not remain in prison any longer." Is the Justice Department confident that this was a granted and warranted incarceration, particularly in light of the fact that Kanya Cekeshe is now back home?
It would be improper for us to comment on how the judiciary or the magistracy reach their decisions, and we would want to assume that the judiciary at all times do apply themselves when they do apply the law. And where there are mistakes, of course, there are legal avenues such as appeals, which are available to individuals. So it would not be for us to comment on whether a sentence or a conviction is warranted or not. That would be to interfere as government with the arms of the state.
Well, talking about government and arms of the state, we know the Minister of Justice, Ronald Lamola, was recently in the United Arab Emirates for a UN conference on anti-corruption measures. What can you tell us about engagements there with UAE officials and discussions around the extradition agreement South Africa ratified last year?
The discussions were positive. And also we must stress that the purpose of that conference was also to outline that such treaties are not the only ways of exercising mutual assistance with various states. But discussions were positive, and they did yield at least positive results from where we stand.
What were those positive results? What is down in writing and guaranteed now?
Well, safe to say that there's been progress in how we can ensure that agreements are ratified by other parties, and there's a way forward to ensure that at least whatever was holding us back has now been addressed. So for now, all I can say is that there's good progress, and we look forward to further engaging with the Emirati and other governments who may be engaged in extradition and mutual legal assistance treaties with us.
Mr. Phiri, just as we round this off, to return to that breaking news story this morning that Kanya Cekeshe has been released to his family just before Christmas, just give us a sense of what the mood was like at Leeuwkop this morning as he was taken out of his cell and driven home to his family after so long.
I was not privy to that. But because it's an operational issue that's done by our correctional facility officials there. But safe to say that he is home, and we hope that everyone may have a Merry Christmas, including him and other offenders as well who have been released. And yeah, we hope that this festive is really a positive one for everyone.
And happy holidays to you too, Chrispin Phiri there from the Department of Justice on the release of Kanya Cekeshe, Fees Must Fall activist, this morning, early hours at Leeuwkop Correctional Services facility. He's back home with his family, hopefully going to pop open a Christmas cracker and celebrate with his nearest and dearest, and no doubt ENCA will be following up on that breaking news. We'll be back right after this with more on news and sport.